Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have over. Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Oh, hello, everyone. I'm so glad to have you all here today on this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I see y'all saw a sneak peek of behind the scenes right before, but I'm here with this lovely friend of mine, Julia Anne Simpson. How are you, Julia Anne?
I am blessed. How are you, Kim?
I'm so blessed to have you here today. People don't know the full backstory of our journey together, but I'm so honored to have you here in the virtual studio audience, right here where I can kind of touch you. Touch you over there for a few minutes virtually. And listen, everyone, grab your virtual seats and go ahead and share the broadcast. Let everyone know we're going to have a great, just a heartwarming episode that's happening here today. And you don't want to miss a moment of it because this woman is very intentionally focused. And you're going to learn what that's all about today. If you've never been focused before, after today's episode and how you balance this thing called life, you're going to know how to be very intentional and how to be very focused to make sure that these things happen in your journey. So, Julia, where are you visiting in from? Because people don't know where you are.
So I'm clear across the country from Kim. So I'm in Washington State, in a little small town of Anacortes.
All right, and it is a small town. It's a real small town. And what made you end up in the Washington State area?
I'm actually born and raised here. So
Okay.
yeah, my parents are just 12 blocks away from me, and it's a blessing.
And how is it even going back to like a small hometown when God has really blessed you to just travel, do different things and explore, but then you come back to your hometown? What is that like from a balance perspective?
It's home, right? Like I actually have a really strong connection to Virginia Beach. That's where I'm attending my doctorate degree right now. Um, So at some point, I would love to be a snowbird somewhere and go somewhere, during these colder times. But I live on a little island. I'm a water baby. So just the atmosphere of where I live is so beautiful. But then I'm also close to my family, and that's really important to me. So,
That's interesting. And you know what? No matter how you slice it, when you form a connection with someone virtually or in person, I think it does. We're connected for life. Like so, we're always going to be connected. But the weirdest thing is that I literally haven't touched you or hugged on you physically ever before. But I feel like we have a life connection.
oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that weird?
Yeah, we're soul sisters like through and through. It's definitely been an ordained relationship that we've come into, and that's kind of how it's been with my degree process too. I'm all the way here in Washington. I've been able to do it all virtual, but most of my best friends these days are all people that are all over this country, which makes it hard because I can't be there in person.
Right.
But every time that we're able to be face to face because of technology, it's it's just divine intervention. I just love it. And even though we've never physically hugged, I feel like we have because we've had such a spiritual connection.
Absolutely. And some people I've met virtually over the years, when I see them, I'm like, oh, I was never in that person's physical presence, but I forgot because I feel like I've known them forever. through all of our conversations, through our times and virtual Zooms or whatever, then to be able to physically be in their presence, it's like, I'm here. Where? Ah! It's kind of bizarre. It's bizarre. Anybody in the studio audience, have you ever formed a virtual connection with someone that you feel like it's been an in-person connection your whole life? Put it in the comments. Tell us some of your connections and friends you've gleaned from. So today we're talking with life coach. We're talking with a mom of this beautiful daughter, beautiful, beautiful daughter. I'll let her tell you more about her, and I get the opportunity to connect with her as well. And then we also are talking to a young lady that is a doctoral program with Regent University. And what else is about you? You are an author, you're a speaker, and again, my friend, you're also on the board of directors with Gabe's Heart Foundation. That's something to note, everybody. She's one of our board members as well. And so, anyway, we have Julia Anne Simpson here today. How are you?
I'm just so excited to be here. I honestly I couldn't sleep last night. I kept waking up like every hour because I'm West Coast time, right? So I was like, I don't want to oversleep, and so because of that, my sleep was probably like split in half through the night. But I was just so excited to be here with Kim. So
Well,
here
I'm
I
glad to
am.
have you. So now, when you think of being intentionally focused, there may be some things that happened throughout your journey in life that made you feel like this had to become your passion, your purpose, your mission. So when we come back after this commercial break, I would love for you to take us back on your journey as to what made this become your primary focus as far as your life is concerned. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break. We'll hear more from Julia Anne Simpson. We'll be back.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented, and I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work, work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right, we're back here on this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show talking with Julia Ann Simpson. Take us back, Julia, and tell us a little bit about your years growing up in that small town over there.
Um, so my journey is, you know, a lot different the way things transitioned. I grew up. My brothers were wrestlers. My dad was a wrestling coach. I just have 3 brothers. I was the only girl. Um, I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up in a First Baptist church. My dad was actually a foster kid, so he was able to be brought in by a Christian family who were a pivotal point in my upbringing. My grandma on the piano, my uncle on the organ. Um, and then super close with my mom's side as well. So very family oriented. My cousins are more like my siblings, and it's which is such a blessing because now my daughter has that same relationship with her cousins as well, where they're super close, like siblings as well. Um, I went through a transitional season in my late teen years. I had lost a cousin to leukemia. We were just about 5 6 months apart, so that did a number on me. And I kind of shared a little bit about this journey on our last show last year,
Mhm.
because this was the pivotal point to where my Choosing Life book came. I went through a pregnancy that I ended up choosing life for my daughter, and within that, um, even though I lost her, came through a pivotal point of me really leaning on God and my relationship with Him. And over the years, it continued to grow and change. Um, and then in 2014, I was in 2 car accidents within a week, followed by cancer, and just a spiral of medical things that really happened, where it just led me to my knees in prayer to God. If I have to live with the injuries that I sustained,
Wow.
what can I do? And at that point, we were in Malachi at church, and it was a month of prayer, and I just heard him tell me counseling. And so it was like, that's perfect. I've helped people that way my whole life. I mean, in high school, I was actually nominated by my peers to be a peer counselor, and I didn't even know what that was until I was put in that role, right? And
Mm,
so you start seeing interlinkings of things throughout your whole
that's
life
right.
when you have those pivotal moments. And so I started as a psych major at University of Arizona. At that time, it was Ashford University. And I, after a couple classes, I was realizing that I was having with a lot of issues concentrating.
Mm,
And I'd have extra migraines doing certain things. And so I had to take a break because I was in the midst of doing my treatments for cancer and still trying to figure out what all my injuries were. Um, so I ended up taking medical leave from school for a while, and
wow.
then
Okay.
actually wasn't able to go back to school because if stop classes, all of a sudden you have a hold on your account because
Hmm.
until you pay an amount. Um, and then I was actually just getting ready for cervical surgery. I actually flew all the way down to Florida.
Mm.
It was the only surgeon in the United States at the time that um, specialized in my injury. And so
So you
it was
went
a
from
whole
Washington
whirlwind.
State to Florida to
Yes.
get this, attempting to get some type of resolution.
And
Ultimately,
I
okay.
didn't end up getting to have it because I came back to figure out how I was going to pay for it. It was going to be over $60,000. And I wasn't able to work in those 3 years, right? So,
Right.
but 2 days later, found out I was pregnant with my daughter that I have now,
Oh,
which was actually 2 days before my first daughter's 10th birthday. So here I was in this fight where I was just ready, just either I'm going to get my life back with the surgery or I'm going to go home to my daughter. Like that's where my focus was until
right.
that moment I found out I
The
was pregnant.
daughter that you had passed away.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah. And so I have craniocervical syndrome. So I actually have torn ligaments through my cervical spine. So every time I go on an airplane, I have to wear a neck brace, and it's a thing. Um, where the ligaments also holding up my cerebellum was also damaged. So I get when I
This
have
is
a
the type of
migraine.
cancer
No, this was from the injuries
from the accident. Okay.
sustained from the accident. Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually had thyroid cancer, which when honestly when that happened, it was kind of just a laugh. Like this is what it is. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen now.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I talk about more of this in the other book that I'm writing, calling pulling up my big girl pants.
Your
Just
big
that
girl
journey,
pants.
my big girl pants.
Okay, so listen in the studio audience. This woman has experienced when we talk about balancing this thing called life and different seasons that we go through in life. She has experienced everything from a gentle childhood. We tell she's had a Christian upbringing with her parents and dad wrestler and in a Christian home with her siblings who are also wrestlers. So she has this kumbaya situation there. Then she goes on, and we're hearing her talk about her teenage years, talking about the pregnancy of her daughter that passed away. Her There's a lot of life things that's happened, and you're still yet here with this beautiful aura and spirit about you that embraces being intentionally focused. What makes that be the spirit that you embrace in the midst of all of the storms that you've encountered in your life?
So like I was saying, the counseling aspect, right? We have these spiritual gifts that we never fully understand when we're younger. One of my spiritual gifts is writing, and so I had thrown that away um, when I was 18, 19, not knowing that was a spiritual gift.
Mm,
And people try saying you can't lose your spiritual gifts. No, you can. And it took me 10 years. It was after my accidents I was able to start writing again.
mm,
Um, and then I started flowing out like crazy. Um, but one of my other spiritual gifts is just caring for people. Where I thought was counseling, God would later on show me that no, it was coaching.
mm.
And so for me, that was my aha moment, right? We get to these pivotal points where you start being refined in these areas that God's like, this is it. And I started as a psych major. When I got to go back to school, I actually switched it to applied behavioral science, because it was sociology, philosophy, psychology, anthropology. It was all of it put together. And I just loved the integration of that and really being able to help and understand the concepts of how people develop in their, their personality throughout the, their development and who they are today. But because of law issues today now in our school systems, I thought I was going to be a school counselor, when I got back. God only gives you a little portion of what you're supposed to do, just a little portion.
Yes.
And as we were in COVID, and I really got to see the politics taking a hold of our school system, I was again down on my knees in prayer. I had ministry on my heart, writing and being what I thought was going to be a school counselor. And I was like, how am I going to be all this and a single mom to my daughter?
Yes.
How am I going to do all this stuff, right? Like I love every bit of it, but I'm only one person. And then I heard God so boldly say life coaching. And it was just, it stopped me in my tracks. I literally just, right? It was just, wow, why did I never think about life coaching before? And a lot of it was because I had never heard of life coaching, right? It was, I had to be processed in all these different areas before he would let me get to this one key moment of my life that would transform so much, right? And right then and there, I was, okay, well, I want to do this right. I don't want it to be about me. I've done that before. It falls apart. I want it to be about God. I want him to be at the forefront of everything I do. I have learned the hard way that when you try doing it all on your own, you fall flat on your face. I mean, that's when I was actually a Visalis rep.
You said what kind of rep?
So I did Visalis shakes and stuff, and so
okay. I was like, hey, I don't know what that word is. Okay.
Yeah, it's a health shake that
okay.
I used to be part of. Right when my accidents happened, I was actually on my way to the second accident that I was in. That was the big accident. I was actually on my way to a Visalis party to help other people, and it was like literally God said no. And
so doing it God's way it was important to you to be able to make sure that happened in this phase of your journey, and it did make a difference for you as far as the outcome. Do you feel like you noticed a significant change as a result of that?
And so when it came to just being intentional about, okay, this is what he's telling me to do. He's telling me, and with writing and life coaching and speaking and all these things, they're all tied in together, right? And so I was like, this is so perfect. It's all intentional. It's all, and my uncle, one of my dad's adopted brothers, he was president of Young Life. And so when he had passed away, when my daughter was, I think she was just 2, I was sad just because, it was a loss. He always was in a completely different state. So I didn't get to see him much growing up. Every time I did, it was like this just amazing experience with my cousins. But I was really excited for his celebration of life, for his funeral, just because I was excited to see the many people's stories that he had touched. Like that's what gets me, is I love stories. I love hearing somebody's journey, no matter where they're at and where they went. And so that was what I was really most excited about, was being able to celebrate who he was.
That's right.
Like his legacy and how much he loved the Lord. And it was during that was another pivotal moment in my life, because I kept hearing God tell me intentionality. And so when it came to my business, when he told me life coaching, I was like, okay, I want to do this right. I want to make sure that you are the center of everything.
That's right.
In this, I want it to be a ministry as well as a business, right? And so I was praying and trying to figure out a name because I wanted to, make it known right then and there. This is what I'm focused on. This is what I'm being called to do. On top of, I was just finishing up my BA at that time. And I was actually in the shower, and before, trying to moments later, before I was literally, okay, what's a name for a business? I was thinking of like the letters, what would the letters be for the branding aspect? And then I was in
Right.
the shower and I heard God say intentionally focused. And I
Oh,
was
so
like,
that's what the IF. Okay. So I'm
yes,
glad to know that. So the IF is actually, let me put that up, because everything that is about Julia Anne Simpson and her branding and her information. Now break it down for us. For those that are podcast listeners, you're hearing it. It's if-intentionallyfocused.com. So break that down for us, the if-intentionallyfocused.com.
yes. So I'm in the shower and I'm like, is that really you, Lord? Or am I just creating this on my own, And
Mhm.
then I thought of the initials and I just started crying. Ran out of the shower, still with shampoo in my hair to make sure that name wasn't taken for a business. And I literally, right then and there, put it on there. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, if intentionally focused, if you are intentionally focused, that's
Mm.
when he is a part of everything that you do.
Yes.
When you're intentionally focused, you're able to weed out everything else and really narrow down what you need to be doing, right? Like there's so much in those two letters, if. And it was definitely a God thing. And it's really helped me ensure that every part of my business has been truly intentionally focused on him.
I love this. And so, being intentionally focused, what does it mean to you all in the studio audience? Because IF, intentionally focused, is something that is her brand, but it's also for all of us so that we can glean from how we can benefit from being intentionally focused. I'm going to pop the actual website in because I'm a visual person. If anybody else visual like me, I know the audio listeners just hearing it, but I'm going to pop this on because I think that it says coming alongside Christian believers, enabling them to live out their purpose and claim the freedom God promises to those who put their trust in Him while growing their relationship. And that is so important. And so tell from your focus here with Yeshua. Okay, so life is greater when you are walking in your purpose. This is beautiful.
Well, and
I
I don't think
love
I
this.
told you, Kim, when I was in my field experience, um, so my life coaching side, I help Christian women. And God has showed me that it's a discipleship of how I come about that alongside them. But when I was in with my field experience, I was really coming alongside a lot of my peers, and one of them was actually a man of God, that really helped open up my eyes because before, as I told you, as a single mom, I really like to make sure that I'm intentional with who I surround myself with, and I never wanted that spiritual door to be around somebody that wasn't supposed to be, right? When you're
Right.
counseling or coaching, there's a spiritual element there that I never wanted to shift.
Yes.
But also working with this gentleman, I got to see God's hand on the other side of it, where I also do Christian consulting
Hmm.
for businesses, ministry leaders. So I'm able to give them care and direction with everything that he has equipped me to do. So that is another part of my business, which is now the professionals with purpose side of my business.
There is a lot to your business, and we're going to be
Mhm.
talking about that throughout the rest of this hour so that you all will know what to do to stay connected with different workshops and seminars and things that's happening, how she can help you on your journey to become intentionally focused as well. So let's see if there are any comments that's coming in. I'd love to address them for a minute. Let's see Mackenzie backstage. Thank you for being there with your baby girl. But can you pop any comment up that I can review right quick? Oh, wow. These are great comments I see. Let's see. Dayron said, there is so much power in intentionally focusing. Do you agree with that? And what's your theory on the power of it?
Yes. So I wanted something that somebody else could feel that power in those words, right? That's why I was so focused on what the branding would be, what the name of the business would be. That's why I was so intense in my prayer of what is it supposed to be. Um, because really, I mean, it can hit anybody where they are. And that's how our walk with God is too. And our walk in life is where we're at, certain things will come about in these seasons that we're in,
That's
right? We'll
right.
be able to be refined in them when we're able to really narrow down who we are authentically, who we were
Mhm.
created to be, and just be able to start bringing about intentionality to that.
That's good. Who we are, who we're created to be, and then being very intentional about walking in that. Deron, great comment. I see Laura Lee saying, he is my center. I cannot do anything without him at the helm. I cannot write, speak, mentor, podcast, nothing without him leading me and filling me with his spirit. Laura Lee, I am
Amen.
100% in alignment with what you're saying. And that comment is just beautiful. It's so in line with both of us here on this screen today. You want to speak to anything, Julia? Feel free. She talked the whole paragraph, so feel free.
Well, that is exactly what I tell people, and that's actually what I've told my professors. If I'm not supposed to write something, and it's been really hard as a grad and doctoral student now, when God's just like, you're not supposed to do this assignment yet,
Yep.
and we teach each other. You need to be proactive. Well, one of my spiritual gifts. When your spiritual gift is writing,
Mhm.
you literally cannot do it unless it's the
Nope.
time that you were supposed to do it. And a lot of that is because you haven't processed through something yet. You haven't got to that moment where you can really do that. So I absolutely love that because it's true. My book, Choosing Life, actually took me, it's it got pushed back. So it's going to be published in spring of next year with TBN. But it took me, my first daughter's birthday would have been on Monday last week. It was the day before Halloween. And she would have been 17 years old. And it's literally taken me this long to be able to write that book. I finished the book last year, actually a week before Roe v. Wade was changed. And I was like, I got to take a step back. But it literally, I couldn't write that book for that many years. And then when it was time to write that book, I had it written in months, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just how God is.
You know what? I don't want to pass out because, but I literally, you resonated with me so much because I've written a book as well regarding my son Gabriel, and every year on his death anniversary date, God does something. I don't know how to word it. I'm not some mystical person, but it's always a sign from heaven that he's smiling from heaven. It's just this thing. One time it was yeah, it's some bizarre stuff. But I've been writing this book is the point. I literally have been writing this book, and every year I put something else in there, and it's like, but God is just, in my opinion, like, no, it's just not time because there's more that I need to say that pertains to this. Yeah. And this happened, I'll just say, on the first year, 1 year anniversary, at the exact same time of the death, in the exact same spot hoop where the basketball hoop was, that him and his brothers were playing a game of basketball. And then that evening at the same time, a smiley face rainbow came above our tree line, right above the basketball. I've never seen a smiley face rainbow. This is a picture in the backyard where the basketball hoop was. And there, his brothers, were playing a game of basketball to commemorate him and his life. They hadn't played basketball the whole year. They just went out and did it that one moment. And this is what appeared, an upside down smiley face rainbow. So we have that framed in the house. And you can't make me believe that God is not always trying to just say, give some level of comfort and peace in the midst of different situations that we encounter in our lives. So,
Yeah.
and every year is something specific at the exact same time. I have no idea what that's about, but I'm grateful that he lends his ear and his heart to us to even let us know,
Yeah.
But
And
anyway, this,
I call it divine fathering, right? It's those confirmations
yeah.
right when we need it that he gives us. I love that.
But in speaking
he
about
is
a
our
book,
father.
we do the same. The book is going to be, like you said, 17 years old now, and the book is going to be released in honor of your daughter. And I know we didn't say her name or anything, but I just want to still salute and honor your daughter's legacy. And I'll keep it at daughter since that's what you've kept it at as well. But I honor her legacy and cannot wait for the book to be released so I can get a copy of it and just binge read and hear your journey of choosing life with her, in
Thank
spite
you.
of what doctors and people said. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
No
Okay.
crying.
All right, y'all. Yeah. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with more from Julia Anne Simpson. We'll be right back after this break. Okay. All right, everyone, we are back and we are talking with Julia Anne Simpson, who has us over here in tears, some, and her new book that's coming out, Choosing Life. But today we're talking about just being intentionally focused. And she's been through so many things in her own journey that's literally forced her to be intentionally focused by choice. And sometimes by force, we have to be intentional about our journey. And so as we're talking today, tell us some projects that you're working on, some things that we need to know about. Let me also, before I do that, let you know that you can get the coffee that you just saw on the screen, which people are ranting and raving about. People are calling me. They're like, what's that website for the coffee? Is vproducts.store. Vproducts.store. Go get your mushroom infused coffee, and they have black coffee as well, and people absolutely love it. And that's one of our episode sponsors. So I want to acknowledge them. And then also Attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. If you're dealing with disability, you may have been denied a claim and you're in the Carolinas, Alabama, Richmond, Virginia area. Make sure you all reach out to them. They have workers' compensation and wrongful death of a loved one. Make sure you reach out 704-457-5000. Now, if you're in a different country, you clearly don't even know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these different local areas. All right, but that's them, 704-457-5000. Talk to us about your projects, Julia.
So I have put together a couple workshops that I'll be doing alongside some group coaching. Since we are coming to the end of the year, I really wanted to be able to help people navigate this season of their life, wherever they are, in a way that allows fellowship and that guidance as I help walk through this part, right? So the two
Well, let me pop some up because
yeah.
I don't know that they're in a special order back here. So let me do this. I'm going to pop a picture up, and then you talk to us about that particular image, because there's a lot of different workshops and things, which I want everyone grab either ability to screenshot what we're going to put up or take notes on it. But these you don't want to miss coming up throughout this holiday season coming up. Let's see. Go ahead.
So this is actually something that I'm doing for viewers here on Kim Jacobs Show. Is I am giving discounted one-on-one consulting or coaching sessions. So if you want to do this, just go ahead and email me. Make sure you put that code in there saying Kim Jacobs on there, so I can make sure that you have that discount. But I want to really make sure that I'm allowing others that one-on-one ability to dive deeper wherever they are at in this transitional season.
And what are they going to get during this particular package?
So the coaching sessions, there's 5 sessions in this package. Usually it's a lot more, but it's very discounted. So the 5 sessions are for $200. Um, and then the consultation, it's important to note to mention that all my sessions are spirit led. So if the Lord's telling me to share something with you, I'm going to share something with you. I will pray over you. I will dive into questions, whatever I need to do to help clarify the directions that we need to go into. But everything that I do is spirit led, which actually really helps me get down to the deeper part of what you're really trying to do, because it's easy to go into a coaching session thinking this is what I want to focus on, but it usually isn't. It's usually not the core of that stems from something else. And
I love that you're saying that up front, because people know what to expect. And I know that I've had the session with you and lots of connections, because we've connected in a lot of different regards. But in our session together, it is very soothing. It's very edifying. It is, whoosh. Yeah, it's like this woosha. I don't know if that's the best way I could think to describe it. But it's a wonderful spiritual encounter. Let me put this back up, because you can get a discount with the code using Kim Jacobs, and that's your code if you are interested in being able to connect with Julia. You won't regret that. I can guarantee you for sure that that's the case. And so let me also make sure you know, and anybody that have questions in the studio audience, feel free to ask them, because we would love to be able to have them addressed. While I pull the next one up, when you think of being intentionally focused, what are like 2 or 3 tips you can share with people that just don't really know where to begin with that? How do I be intentionally focused? Share a couple of tips with us.
So a lot of that is the breathing technique that I did with you, for one. It's really learning to get outside of the chaos. You really have to be intentionally focused to be intentionally focused. You need to breathe. And actually, let's go ahead and do that one.
Oh yeah, I do. That's why I got
Yeah.
in my mode. I'm
Yeah,
like, let's
let's
go.
go
I'm a
ahead
role
and
player. So everybody
yeah,
in your home,
let's let everybody feel that, right?
let's
Because
do
I feel
this
like
right
yes.
now. Okay, get yourself centered and ready.
So how I learned this through pain management, and then of course gut
Okay, I'm gonna
refine
put you over here and let
spirit.
you. Okay, go.
So what you want to do is you're going to breathe in through your nose. You're going to hold it for at least 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and then you're going to release out through your mouth. So this is actually going to bring oxygen to your brain and help detox your body at the same time. So that way you can focus on what you really need to focus on. So we're going to try this 3 times. I'm going to have you do this with me. So first, breathe in through your nose. And release. You're going to do this 2 more times. So breathe in through your nose. And release. Now last time, I want you to really be able to hold and breathe out everything. So breathe in. And release. So now that you're in this state of mind, you can actually navigate questions such as what was the first thing that came to your mind? And usually that is something that's heavily on your heart that you can navigate further. Or you sometimes just have clarity on what that thing is. I would actually love to hear what came to mind for other people, how that just made them feel. We can do a little coaching in this.
Yeah.
But I would
Let's
love
talk
to
about
hear
it.
where you
Let's
guys
talk
are at.
about it. In the
Yeah.
studio audience, what came to mind when you did that exercise? I don't have ducks playing, or not ducks, but birds chirping and stuff. I was trying to find some copyright free music right quick too, but I did get some daydreaming music back there anyway. Let's talk about what came to mind when you were doing that exercise. I know I actually teach. I've taught stress management sessions with corporate offices, and even in being the teacher of these, when I personally do it myself through the training you were doing, it was still different because now I'm in the student seat. I've actually not worried about the birds chirping and how I'm teaching you to go on this vacation and all of these things that I do as the teacher, but I'm the student. And I was in learn mode when I was in that session with you. And it just took a burden off of me. That's what it did for me. I was like, I feel like I can tackle more today as just a result of this exercise. Yeah. Okay. In the studio audience, let's see. Did anybody else? Julia, why isn't your life coaching sponsored? Okay. Mackenzie trying to get some sponsorship for the Kim Jacobs show. Thank you, Mackenzie. So yeah, that's an offline thing. Anybody else? She's like, hey, get on there and be a sponsor.
I thought about it.
You know what, Mackenzie? Like, I need to make sure we get some more sponsors around here. Let me take a moment and acknowledge what Mackenzie is saying. If you are interested in sponsoring, and because you know what, God puts different things on different people's hearts, and so Mackenzie, thank you. Let me stop joking and just say thank you for even thinking about our program and the sponsorship opportunities. And so I will put up, if you are interested in advertising on the Kim Jacobs Show, make sure you email kimjacobsshow@gmail.com, kimjacobsshow@gmail.com, and let us know your interest. We'll make sure you get a brochure and how you can have your program advertised here globally, actually in 100 countries, 350 million households through CTR Media Network, and also on all of the social media platforms. So thank you, Mackenzie, for letting God use you to remind me to put that up. All right. And Mackenzie will see that email for sure. She will respond. All right. Any other comments or questions in the studio audience? Let's see. Amen. Amen. Laura Lee said, power in your testimony. Great comments, y'all. Thank you. I asked myself, Nicole said, Julia, it's such an honor, a joy, and a blessing to hear more of your story today.
Thank you, Nicole.
And anyone else? I saw someone say, I asked myself, why don't I use the tools that I have in my tool bag? Speak to that for a minute. Why don't we use what we have?
Right, it's the distractions. And so that's why I really love coaching, is because everybody has necessary tools. Either they haven't been refined in them, right, or they're unaware of them. And that's the part of coaching, right? Is because I get to dive deeper into asking the questions that they can navigate themselves. Like, hey, wait a minute, I have that. I know how to do that. Mm-hmm. Or just things that they're conscious versus subconscious isn't allowing them to put the two together, right? Because that's a lot of we live in today in society. We are so fast paced and we are overworked, and we just have all these distractions. Right. That if we can actually just dive down in what are my resources that I have. That was actually one of the reasons why when God told me life coaching, it was so powerful for me, because I've always had this ability to navigate what I have in front of me. I've always had this growth mindset that I was blessed with since a small child. I always had that psychology mindset, as I would always say, is I would look at people, I would navigate things, and I would problem solve all of it myself internally. And so I've had that my whole entire life, that it's just natural for me to, this is what I have going on, let me dive into this and go deeper. And so, but it was always bothering me why other people didn't have that same aspect. Mm-hmm. And so with processing that I went through, the stories I've heard, I really got to know and understand other reasons to that, and with my education, that I'm able to help them navigate what a growth mindset is. You know,
Okay.
to look at the bigger picture, not just the narrowed down, which causes depression, what causes a lot of different issues that people deal with,
Hmm.
but to get to the root, but then also to be able to look out and look at the resources at hand that you have already, because a lot of us mind over matter. Like the smartest person only uses maybe 20% of their brain. If we can start navigating how to use our brain, we can really use those tools.
The tools in your tool bag. If you
Mhm.
connect with Julia, she's going to be able to say, okay, this right here is down in your tool bag. Let's pull this one out. This one needs to stay in your tool bag because that's distracting you. And this one, so she can help you navigate through what you're dealing with. Let me pop another picture up too. It's your life. Talk to us about this image and what people can
So
do.
this is one of the group coaching sessions. This one will be taking place towards the end of December and the first week of January. This is really going to be able to help you navigate your life, your way, to really be able to hone in on what you feel called to be able to disassociate with things that aren't growing with you. We'll be able to really navigate those areas so that way you can go into 2024 with a clear vision of who you
Mm.
want to be, of who you were created for, and your next steps, in a way that is personal to you, right? That you can be intentional.
So this, it's your life, because I know we have the audio listeners as well. It's your life. You can find any of these images that I'm popping on the screen or that you're hearing at if-intentionallyfocused.com/events. if-intentionallyfocused.com/events. Talk to us about this one that's coming up. And these are all during the holidays, you guys. You're going to go into 2024 right. That's for sure.
So this one is actually one that's been on my heart to do for the last 2 years, actually. And so I have the go now, divinely have that go. I believe that everybody has a story. I believe that throughout scripture, the Lord uses testimonies because it's how we connect, it's how we grow and learn. And so telling your story workshop, this is going to be at least 2 hours. It might go longer, just to warn all of you. You'll probably have some coaching in that. But you're going to be really able to navigate what your story is, how to outline your story, how to the tips and tricks to publish if you want to self-publish, if you want to do any of the things that relates to writing your book. And your book doesn't have to be a memoir. I mean, you might have something on your heart that's fiction, or a cookbook that we can integrate things into. Like there's so many different directions. But I believe that everybody has a story. Everybody has a book that they should publish, because that really is part of your legacy. A couple of my journals that mean more to me than even my memoir. It's called three of them. One of them is Dear Heavenly Father. Another one is Visions and Dreams, and the last one is God Answers Prayers. And the reason why they're so personal to me is because it's your testimony. It's your walk with God. And
Mhm.
so, when the rapture happens, when life is in chaos, these are your legacy that you're going to be able to share with other people. Well, if you're here or not, right? It's your personal journey. And I believe that's so powerful.
It's very powerful. And I think you've mastered that in a great way through your writing. So I'm excited, even though I know you're going to be helping them do their story. But this is going to be helpful for each of them. Let's see. Breakthrough, unlocking your growth mindset and stepping forward. This is happening when?
So this is going to be, I believe this one is, yes, this is in December. This is another workshop. My goal is to be having one workshop and one group session package monthly. I'm not sure exactly how next year's going to be looking. It's all, what God tells me to do. But that is my goal. The breakthrough is to actually focus on that mindset, to get that growth mindset, to really be able to help you step forward to what you need to do next. This is going to help you with your plan. This is going to help you navigate the waters, to break through those locked doors that we've created ourselves. Or in another form of it, we have distractions in our lives, right? There's so much happening, and a lot of it's because it's a spiritual battle. So this workshop is life coaching on the mindset as well as the spiritual realm. We really need to be able to tell the enemy where he is and navigate, because we have to know who the enemy is, where he's at, and be able to speak to him the way that the Lord has spoke through him. So, and a couple of these ones are just this is the same
This is
workshop
a
that I shared
story.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do we go through, because I want to make sure that all of the workshops are there, and make sure you know where you can get those workshops. If you go, and I'm going to pop up, I want to make sure you know exactly where to go. Tell people where they can stay connected with all of what you're offering.
So I most of everything that I have is on my website. Social media gets a little crazy because I'm just a one person show at this point in time. So everything is always updated on my website. All the events, you're able to register for them right on my website. And I keep everything up to date as much as possible on there. So that's usually the best way to see what's going on behind the scenes, because even with social media, a lot of it can be looked at as fake, right? Like, this is a show, and I rather it just be
Staged.
this is what it is. And so that's why I'm like, I just rather get you to my website and actually let you do what God's telling you to do versus what I'm just trying to show you to do. So
I love that. And so go to Julia. You can email her, Julia at if-intentionallyfocused.com, or you can go to intentionally focused. Oh, no, IF. Remember, the IF is intentionally focused. if-intentionallyfocused.com. That's like an epic website name. I'm glad you got that for sure. And I'm going to pop a few more images up here too. And let's see if you can talk to us about this one right here. What is this?
so those are that my graduation. Went to Regent University, and these are two of my friends. There was actually a couple of us, but we were ready before everybody else. So we were able to have lunch and everything together before we had graduation. And this is another coaching package. This is a group coaching. It's rediscovering who you were meant to be, right? Really navigating, as we were just doing the breathing, to be really able to navigate your next steps, who you are, start refining you, and so and navigating this season of your life, because everybody's in a transitional season. And a lot of these workshops and the coaching that it's been really heavy on my heart to do and share with you all with these ones particular, is I believe that there is such an awakening happening right now in the spirit, and that so many are being called to do something, but they need the resources, right? And so I want to be a resource for everybody that's being called to do something to help you navigate those waters in this wilderness season that we're in all the chaos in this world.
Yes. So this is all of these workshops. You're going to be able to find them right on her website. And so if you go to if-intentionally focused, you're going to be able to navigate and get to those. Are there any other tips? And I'm going to put a main picture up, which, I'm not definitely going to end without making sure that one picture gets up of your baby doll. But any other tips that you want to share before we head off of today's episode? And I put that final picture up.
Honestly, I would love to open up for questions and see if anybody.
Okay. Anybody have any questions in the studio audience or comments that came in? Feel free, Mackenzie, to pop it up while I put. I'm going to pop this picture up right now. This is it. I need to pop this up.
I know you'd love that one.
So tell us about this lovely young queen that you're raising.
So this is my rainbow baby. She is my world. She's 6 years old now. And honestly, it was really cool. We were able to go back east for my graduation. And we were able to, I'm homeschooling, so we were actually able to make this a big field trip. We went to DC for a day, did the Smithsonian's and did everything. Um, and she still to this day, Mommy, I want to go to your graduation again. Like that was her favorite trip. And we've gone to Disney World a couple times. We've done everything. But her favorite trip was my graduation trip. And knowing that she was there to witness everything that I've been going through, what hard work looks like. We're both going to school, right? Like right now I'm working on my doctoral degree. And I'm homeschooling her. So she's navigating looking at life as a life learner, and that's what I want for her. I believe that we should all be continuing to learn on this journey, and so she understands that mommy has homework too, right? But yeah, so she's my world, and she's a life is so busy. She does a little bit of everything. And these ladies are some of my really good friends. A few of them, two of them I did coaching sessions with as we were in our coaching practicums, and the other two we were in our field experience together. Yeah, these are again my friend
Yeah, I
Monica
put that one
and
up earlier, I
Tanya.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't want to miss any pictures. I hope I didn't miss any because I really love hearing your journey. And again, most kids love Disney World as their favorite trip, but you can see in this image that your daughter is like, my mommy.
Yeah.
And I'm here. It's like like you're Mickey Mouse. It's like she's hugging you like for dear life. And that's
Yep.
such an encouragement as we're balancing our lives and trying to lead by example with our children that's watching us. I'm just so proud that she has you
Thank you.
as you're intentionally focused. She's intentionally focused on what you're doing too as an example for her. Okay, yay, Regent grad. Someone said laugh out loud. Nicole said yay to the Regent grad. Much love to you, Dennis said. Wow, I'm not the only one in the wilderness, Laura Lee said. Your story is nothing short of a healing journey for other people. This is really speaking to the battle that I've been in. Wow. Praise you, Father. Any comment you want to make on that?
I believe that's where Satan wants us to be right now, is thinking that we are in the wilderness stuck on our own right now. I actually just went through in between my master's. I just started my doctorate in August, and so just having those few months break, there was a lot of wilderness in it, and I'm still just getting out of it. We will go through continued wilderness parts in our lives, seasons, but a lot of those times are for us to be able to really have that time with the Lord and really be able to refine things that He's wanting us to refine before we can get to those next blessings. But if we don't have the right tools and understanding of that, we can get stuck in that wilderness. And so I think it's so powerful. First, I mean, anybody who has had to go through something, the first part of it is to recognize that you are in something, right? So that way you know how to navigate forward. So I love the transparency in that. And there's so much more for people right now, and God has for everybody.
That's right.
So the wilderness is definitely part of it. One of the other, you can actually see one of the seminars I did with a few of my good friends here with my field experience that we showed pictures of. We did a couple seminars, and one of them was walking on water. And that is another really powerful one that is in tribute with navigating the wilderness. So you guys can find that on my YouTube channel as well.
On the YouTube channel, anything with IF intentionally focused, you're going to find Julia Anne Simpson. So make sure you stay connected. Mother Julia Harper said, great show again. And now listen to me carefully, Julia. If there is another book in the Bible, I say this often, if there's another book in the Bible, it would be named after this woman, Mother Julia Harper, the book of Julia, because this woman is a walking example of God's love. She's in her 80s. I won't give her age, but she's in her 80s. She's one of the longest living heart transplant recipients. a 16-year-old boy's heart was beating in her chest. Joshua is his name, I think, and has beat for 25 years in her body. And she's on social media taking the time. If you go to my Facebook page, Kim Jacobs, I did a little video reel because I had the opportunity to connect with her this past week or so. And I just want to sit at her feet and just glean from this woman. And she's on here saying, great show, because she's connected with you now.
I love it.
Isn't
And
that
I
great?
saw that post, and it warmed my heart because I knew your heart in that too because of Gabe and everything. So it just, yeah. Thank
I
you.
have like this long video, but I didn't post that because that's
Yeah.
just for me right now in my life. And that
Yeah.
video is like just sitting at the feet of someone God ordained for me to just glean from. So thank you, Mother Julia Harper, for being here. And y'all make sure you go see that reel on my Facebook page. All right. Any other comments? I know we've had a lot of comments, lots of great information from you, Julia. Any closing comment from you? Because we have to get ready to end, unfortunately. I could talk to you forever. You know that.
I know. That's how we do it.
Wait, let me get one more comment in. This is a step out of this season into the wilderness towards his kingdom assignment, is what this individual said.
I love that. It's so true.
Wow, this is so awesome. Yes.
I love that.
Okay, lots of comments.
And how I look at the wilderness, you have to remember what Jesus did in the wilderness, right? And that's a big part of the coaching that we're going to be doing is we have to really get outside ourselves and realize how big he is, because what he has, his plans for us, is so much greater. The direction I was going in before my car accident, I live with a lot of pain and different things, but my life is so much greater. I mean, I would have never thought about going to doctoral school on top of everything else. I have 2 more years, and Kim, you will be at my graduation. I'm telling you, it's not too far from you, and you better come.
Okay.
But I would have never been here. I would have never met Kim. I would not be able to do what I'm able to do now. If it wasn't for those seasons in my life, and we have to embrace these seasons because there's blessings in them all. So if I was to give anybody any tips in that, to look at your blessings. We're in November, which everybody knows to be thankful for, right? I'd rather you go deeper into finding something every day and just thanking God for it. When I have arthritis in my ankle and I had to have surgery, my daughter was 2.5. And the surgery it took a lot longer to heal, that I was literally crawling on my floor to get to the kitchen, to get to this. And I'm also changing diapers. And in my kitchen, I had a scripture to give thanks to the Lord in all things. And, when you're able to, even in your suffering, Lord, thank you that I can still open up a fridge.
Yes.
Thank you that I can still stand on my knees and make my daughter lunch, right? Mm-hmm. Like if we can actually just embrace the season that we're in, Satan has nothing on us. That's right. He doesn't. I mean, you have to think about Job. You have to look at throughout scripture, God works everything out for something so much greater. If we embrace it and just give him everything and just let it go, because his yoke is lighter. That's why I'm able to do everything that I'm able to do. I've had months where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. But he always provides. He always shows up in such a way that when you say, show me your glory in a way that glorifies you, he's going to take you through something so much greater. That's right. If we get outside of ourselves and see what he's able to do through us.
Well, people probably think I'm in like a church service over here because I'm like, yes, I that's you're a twin of mine in this regard. So just yeah, I'm honored that you're on and that you're letting God use you and minister through you and share what his vision is that he wants you to share with us. And so as we're being intentionally focused, everyone, I'm trying to see all your comments and stuff. It's been so much that's been shared. Make sure you all subscribe to our YouTube channel right at the Kim Jacobs Show. Make sure you know that today's episode is also sponsored by Dr. Joe D. Bear, Joe D. Dr. Joe D. Jodee. Let me start over. Dr. Joe, JODEE.com. And her phone number is 1-800-820-0584. And I want you to know that because that's where you can learn more about the Healthopedia. That's like an encyclopedia for health. Make sure you all get that. It's 42 different authors that make up that Healthopedia. And there's a big event happening that you want to be a part of. And that's drjod.com, and reach out to her, let her know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. One final time, how can they stay connected with you?
My website is www.if-intentionallyfocused.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Intentionally Focused. I am on social media, but most of everything is on my website, and I love being able to connect to people. So email me at julia@ifintentionallyfocused.com.
Email julia@if-intentionallyfocused.com. And thank you all for allowing us to serve your families every weekday at 11 o'clock a.m. The only way we can do this is through community contributions. If you all don't send a community contribution, guess what? We didn't get anything that week, because this is how we come into your household. So it doesn't matter whether it's a small amount or a huge amount. Whatever God has put in your heart to bless the Kim Jacobs Show with, send it over to Cash App, $Kimjacobsinc, or paypal.me/KimJacobsInc, or Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. And you can also become a member on our YouTube channel or on our Patreon page. So we are so honored, again, that you are allowing us to bring balance to the world, one household at a time, which begins with your household. So thank you. Thank you, Julia, for being here today.
Thank you. And a shout out to Gabe's Heart Foundation as well in this season of things. What we've been able to do, I really want to give a shout out with the heart defibrillators that we are coming into. We're going to be able to bless other people. So definitely stay tuned to what Kim Jacobs is doing with Gabe's Heart. And thank you for letting me be here. And it's always a blessing being.
And I'm really grateful that you said Gabe's Heart, because we have raised enough funds to be able to, from our 5K walk, to be able to get at least 3 defibrillators, which is huge because you have to get everything associated with the defibrillators. And what that does is we're able to put those defibrillators into public spaces, which we will be communicating where those public spaces are, where young people congregate. That way we can give a chance for the paramedics to hopefully arrive, and they have certified people that can actually perform the defibrillation techniques, CPR, while the paramedics have the 10, 15 minutes, however many minutes it takes them to arrive to deal with the situation. I want to put that back up for one more minute. So make sure that if you're able to contribute to Gabe's Heart Foundation, that you go to gabesheartfoundation.org. And our goal is to raise $20,000 to be able to get those portable defibrillators placed throughout the country. So please make sure you do that. And thank you for being on the board of directors with Gabe's Heart, and to all of our board members, and to all of our 2023 sponsors as well, and to everyone that believes in what we're attempting to do, which is help eradicate this sudden cardiac arrest that's taking lives. Okay. All right, everybody. We got to go. We have to go. Have a great one. I love you all. And I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference. And I look forward to you bringing your friends and family